You know, I'm going to be infiltrated when I break the bee out. Hello everyone. Do I even remember my intro? It's Bethany from Bethany Books and welcome back to this book nook. Today I am coming at you from a big hiatus. Is that even how you say the word? I am not about to explain why I've been gone. I am also going to start a vlog. In fact, I've already started it. I've done the intro today. So I am also going to do a vlog and I'll explain more. Thank you so much for supporting me through my hiatus. If that's even how you say the word. I am so full of self-doubt right now. I'm pretty sure I'm PMSing because I am breaking out along my jawline and my moods have been everywhere. Am I putting that out on the internet? Yes, screw it. Apparently I'm just coming back. Where is my camera? Top or bottom? There. Now I'm looking at you. Apparently I'm just coming back completely unfiltered. So, it doesn't matter how many books you read, you are a reader. I stand firmly by that. This year, however, I have read... Hang on, I have my Goodreads here. I have read 22 books, which for me, when I say last month I read like last year, in 1 month, I read 15 books. And in the past almost 5 months, I've read 22. Your gal just has not been in a good space. So what's this video then, Bethany? This is a video wrapping up the 22 books that I have read this year. Think of it as one big quarterly wrap up. Because I'm going to try to keep these reviews concise, share with you the star rating and just update us all so that after this I can just draw a line in the sand and be like, done, we're moving on. So Tahara Mafi is where we're going to start because it was her, what's it called again? A Very Large Expansive Sea, which was my first book of the year. I've read 2 Tahara Mafi ones, A Very Large Expansive Sea and This Woven Kingdom. This Woven Kingdom, very kindly gifted to me. Thank you, HarperCollins. But I really was unfazed by both of them. Both of them are 3 stars. I cannot remember much about either of them. So they were both very unforgettable, which isn't a word that you necessarily want associated with your novels. My main critique of A Very Large Expansive Sea when I look back at my review is that I loved the idea of it being from a Muslim perspective. It's really important to hear those voices being heard and something I do want to definitely keep reading of. However, I talked about the love interest being frustrating and I felt like the love romance subplot took away from the main points of the novel, which is all about racism, stereotypes, and all of that horrible negativity that unfortunately continues on in today's society. Now, can there be a novel about racism and romance? Definitely. There definitely can. But this one, I didn't like how the racism was dealt with. Personal opinion. Can I say that coming from a white person with a lot of privileges? I don't know. I might get slated for that opinion, but the reality is I felt like the romance came first and the critique of racism came second. The other book, This Woven Kingdom, I just feel like I've read it before. I'm already rambling. I feel like I've read it before. Was not worth the hype whatsoever. After that, I read Babyland, which was a graphic novel. This was also very kindly gifted to me by the author. So this is by Eileen Gillick, and I think this is interesting because the art style it's written with a very unique sense of humour. I don't think it's for everyone. It doesn't have many positive reviews, but I did give it 4 stars because I think I got the humour. It's only 3 stars on Goodreads. I mean, that's only out of like 4 ratings. So not many people liked it. I just think you have to have a quirky sense of humour. It was a quick read. It was a decent way to start the year. A book that I had started reading in 2021 was Maya Angelou's I Know Why a Caged Bird Sings, and I finished it, so it counts as one of my 2022 books. I liked it. I think it was very profound, something that will stick with me forever, but I am not intending on reading the rest of her series anytime soon. I think book 1 was kind of enough. I know she's written poetry though, and I'm very intrigued to get my hands on some of her poetry and read that. I'm going through a poetry phase at the moment. I'm loving writing poetry. So I would be very keen to read some of her poetry. But in terms of the rest of her series, am I interested? No. But I did give this book 4 stars. So it wasn't a bad book. I don't want to read more. Battle Royale. This was also sent to me very kindly by the people over at HarperCollins. Yeah, HarperCollins New Zealand, making sure I had the right shout out there. And so thank you to them. This was actually my first 5-star read of the year, and it was just at the right time at the beginning of the year. If you cast your mind back to when I was producing vlogs, we had to move house because our landlord decided to sell up. I do not blame them. The housing market, I always vent about this, is astronomical, so I do not blame the homeowners for selling that house, but it meant that we had to leave, which sucks because it was a beautiful house and the rent was decently affordable. And I remember reading this book in the bed, which we had moved into what used to be the living room, and I just sat there, and it was like my escapism from all the stress going on in my life. The way I described it is if British Bake Off and what was it? British Bake Off and did I write it in my review? Like an enemies to lovers story within it. It's just the right amount of tasteful spice. Enemies to lovers. I really enjoyed it. It was giving me the vibe I really needed at that time in my life. I read Ender's Game, which I do still have on my shelf somewhere. It's a book that I've been wanting to read for a long time, ever since I learnt that it was meant to be like one of the most important science fiction novels of all time. And I will say, the plot twist at the end, phenomenal. And I really loved how it was a child. And like, it really was a child. So often, novels, like The Hunger Games does this a little bit. You have youth as the main characters. And the characters are portrayed to be super mature. And I'm not saying youth cannot be super mature. I'm not articulating myself very well. I'm just saying I really enjoyed how in Ender's Game, Ender, we see him as a very young boy, we see him grow up, and there are moments in his very intense life, and he is an intelligent boy, but there are moments within that where we're reminded that he is a kid. Fascinating. I really liked it. I really did. I was surprised. I didn't think I was going to enjoy the writing style at first, but I went on to give it 4 stars. The Unknown Zone. I think this is where my descent started. I've got all of these unwrapped books. Wrapped mystery books. And I was going to do like a vlog, and I started vlogging it, and then I lost the footage based on this book and the next book. The Unknown Zone was one of the mystery books. It was about, it's very like mouldy, legend, myth, culture orientated. I thought it was quite cool. It's a story about a young mouldy lad who's brought up in an abusive household who goes on to do great things for his iwi. I don't know if I would recommend it if you want to learn a bit more about New Zealand culture, but I do think you'd have to already have a decent amount of base knowledge to kind of fully grasp the power of the story. But for a mystery novel I'd never heard of before, I enjoyed it. The other one I got was Money Run. This was just a good old like middle grade young adult novel about assassins and getting stuck in the wrong place and a heist and a chase gone wrong. Entertaining. Loved the fact that that novel had little drawings in it. So if you have a child aged around 12 to 15, maybe even younger than 12 depending on the kid, there is violence involved. Yeah, I think I'd recommend that. I started reading it to 14-year-olds at school, so there's that. Okay, after that, I started then picking back up with the vlogs. I read There's Someone Inside Your House and I vlogged it, and I loved this book so much. Gave it 5 stars. Like I said, there's a vlog. You can go watch and listen to my reaction about it. I enjoyed it. Good thriller. I then went on a bit of a thriller run. The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. Fantastic. Another 5 stars. The psychological thrilleriness, the plot twistiness, fantastic. Gillian Flynn lovers, if you haven't read this, please read it. AJ Finn really gives, Flynn. I don't have them mixed up, do I? AJ Finn really gives Gillian Flynn. Oh my god. Just read it. And then I read The Great Gatsby and things went downhill a little bit. Oh look, I actually have my edition right here. I gave this one 3 stars. Oh, all you people who love it are going to hate me. I thought it was boring. It's all about Gatsby, right? It's meant to be. It's all about this fascinating person in who's our main character's life. I don't even know the main character's name now. That's going to really annoy me. But yeah, you think it's meant to be all about Jay Gatsby because it's literally called The Great Gatsby, but instead they're just like the... Do we have his name? No. But just like the main we follow the main character. I mean, if you've read this book, you already know it. We follow the main character who observes Gatsby and is fascinated with Gatsby. But the thing is, I don't care about the person we're reading from, like the perspective we're reading from. I wanted to know more about Jay. I didn't care that he was having like this affair with a golfer. It wasn't important to me. So it's a classic case of it wasn't what I expected to be, so I'm having a hissy fit about it. Moving on. Cookbook. I counted it towards my Goodreads thing. I love this cookbook. This cookbook is the bomb. Some really good recipes in it. Check it out. Also, thank you very much to HarperCollins as well. I'm trying to make sure I am very honest with you guys in what has been sent to me. And like this whole shelf there, if that's in the frame, that's been sent to me. Oh my god, I've got so many acts I need to read. Overwhelm. Moving on, ignore that. Then I read Tamara Pierce's Tempests and Slaughter, and holy moly, it's so good. I love it so much. It's just, the way I described it in my Instagram review was Harry Potter but better. I don't want to get political. I don't care enough to get political about Harry Potter right now. Yo, it's editing me. Also, yes, I'm on the floor. I just wanted to clarify, I 100% care about the issues surrounding J.K. Rowling and all of the horrible derogatory stuff she said towards LGBT plus trans, like, you know, all of those comments. What I meant by I don't care is that in this moment, and I do stand by myself, I feel like, how do I wear this? There's just so much hatred going on in the Harry Potter world, and it's starting to get me a little bit frustrated that you have to be so careful with what you say. A book is a book, and whilst they can be both positive and negative on society, I think Harry Potter at its heart is just a children's magical story. And yeah, I guess that's what I'm getting at. I don't care enough in terms of, I'm kind of sick of hearing this narrative. We need to keep talking about these societal issues that J.K. Rowling herself has pointed her out to be a part of. But hopefully you guys understand me. All I know is that I loved it, and I feel very blessed to have discovered Tamara Pierce this late in my life, because it turns out she's quite a prolific writer, probably reader too. And after reading this book, which turned out to be the first in a trilogy or duology, and it's the latest series, I went on to research her and discovered that the world that is Tempests and Slaughter is written in, like, the characters, the world the characters live in. She's got like 20 books all in the same world. So I went back to the very beginning and read the first quadrilogy, the first 4-book series, and devoured it 1 book a day. They're small books, they're like middle grade, but oh, so good. And like, I was reading the reviews, so I guess this is the next 4 books. I read the Alana, the First Adventure, and then the rest of the Song of the Lioness series. I guess, yeah, moving into those. Reading the reviews, I totally understand where some people's critique come from. There's definitely some white saviorism in there. There's definitely some silly kind of romance. But for the context of the book, what I wanted in that moment, it was perfect. I just got absolutely sucked into the world, and I'm really excited to eventually keep reading more from this world because it's just a happy place for me. But with reading great books comes the book hangover. So basically, I read Tempests and Slaughter and then the first 4 books of that series. And school started. Well, school had already started at this point, but the school book club started, and we have decided, I'm very excited about this by the way, we have decided to read hyped TikTok books. So we started with none other than Colleen Hoover. This was my first Colleen Hoover, and hot take, it's trash. I did not like it. Now, let me be very careful on what I say. I paused and literally no thoughts went through my head. This book is about domestic abuse, and it is very hugely based on Colleen Hoover's mother's experience. So I don't want any of this to come across as an attack for anyone, towards anyone. Domestic abuse is terrible. Of course, everyone will deal with it in their own way. I am very luckily not a victim of domestic abuse, so I don't really feel like I can say much. So what I'll say is this. I applaud Hoover for the messages she is trying to send. But I don't think she did a great job in showing them. And my book club is with 4 young women, and they're all extremely intelligent. I don't know if I can call them feminist because I don't want to label them things they don't identify as, but forward-thinking young women, and they all had problems with the book, and the one that sticks with me is one of them saying something along the lines of, they understand that this is a novel that's showing the perspective of someone who's told themselves they won't stay with an abusive partner, but do. Sorry if that's a very mild spoiler. It's about our main character who's in a very complicated relationship with a guy who is domestically abusive towards her. But this young woman said the thing that she had an issue with is she understands the complexities that Hoover was trying to say, but at the end of it, she doesn't feel like the abuser or the abused really had a moment where it was like, it's not okay. She didn't feel like there was a hard line in the sand where it was like, no, stop, this is bad. Of course, that's just one interpretation of it, and I will 100%, I back that student. I also agree, I have the same thoughts, so don't you dare come for her, come for me. If you're going to come for anyone on a book opinion, which everyone's allowed a book opinion of. So yeah, I was hugely disappointed in Colleen Hoover. After that, I read The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and this was a lot better. Again, this was for a book club. I gave this one 4 stars in the end. It was not what I expected whatsoever, and I think that's what made it so enjoyable for me. I have read Sylvia Plath's poems, and it's a very intriguing... I need to research more about Plath, but she's very intrigued with death, isn't she? And I know her medical backstory, I understand that. But I find her take on life and death very interesting. I then read The Dressmaker, which was actually recommended to me by one of you guys. I'm so sorry I can't remember who recommended it to me, but I picked this up in a thrift shop when I saw it. This has stuck with me. I gave it 4 stars. The ending of this book was very, very satisfying. There were bits that were a little bit wishy-washy, but satisfying. I'm going to move on because then I read... I've got it somewhere. Oh, it's at my feet. One also sent to me by HarperCollins. I didn't actually request this. It just turned up on my doorstep. I think because they were trying to promote the fact that it's coming out on Netflix or a movie. So watch it. I don't know. I'm not paid to say anything. So what I will say is I thought the plot of this story, what did I rate it? I gave it 4 stars, which I think was a high rating actually now that I look through everyone else's. The plot of this, it wasn't anything new, but the reason I loved it is because when you flick through, see if I can find an example, our main character loves to write poetry. She writes poetry on anything she can find, and as someone, I've already mentioned, I've been enjoying writing poetry. As someone who likes poetry, writes poetry, doesn't share her poetry. The idea of being quite anonymous with it and writing it randomly everywhere inspired me to start writing poetry again. So my 4-star rating of This Guy Is Everywhere is less about it being a good book and more that it was inspiring. Hopefully that makes sense, because that's all I'm talking about. Again, another one from HarperCollins. Can you tell I've been feeling very guilty recently about not reading my arcs? The Modern Sings. You might recognise them as the Indian-Irish Kiwi couple here on YouTube. I had never heard about them. When I requested this one, I thought it was way more of an autobiography of someone's life, which I guess in its own sense it is, and I have to give the Sings credit where credit is due. I definitely don't think it was written by a ghostwriter. I definitely feel like it is their own words. Because it's so boring. Oh, I think this is the new me, guys. This is the new me. My mum would say I'm looking gormless. With love she would say that, but gormless. If you know the couple and you're invested in their life, by all means pick this up. Did I learn stuff about Indian culture? Yeah. Did I learn stuff about Irish culture? Yeah. Did I learn about a love story about two people? Beautiful? Yeah. But there's no other way to say this. I have no personal investment in these two people, although I can respect everything they've gone through. I don't care. This has been my problem, guys. This has been my problem. I found myself just not caring about things. Let me come back to them. I feel like I've just done them such a disservice. They're wonderful people. They're strong people. I love the messages they send out about, bilingual couples and finding that balance. Gosh, I could definitely relate to that. There were moments in here where I could definitely relate. But it didn't feel like what I was reading really had any significance to me. Oh, I'm just going to stop because I'm just digging myself a hole. And then we come to the last two books that I have read. Here we go. Like I said, I've been getting back into poetry, and I've had these two poetry books on my shelf right up there for years now. 2 or 3 years, maybe even more. They're hardcovered. And the insides are very beautiful. This is Atticus. He is a Instagram poet. And I love the books because they have pictures. But let's just say that I've confirmed Instagram poetry is not for me. Have I published a book of poems? No. Do I have a following on a social media platform of over 1 million? No. So do I respect what they've achieved? Yes. Do I like his poetry? No. And it was really interesting, actually. I don't want to ramble on too much, but I put a poll up in my Instagram stories about, is this poetry? And it was an interesting mix of people saying yes, no, I'm genuinely on the fence. But it's pages like this that get me a little bit irked. I've paid $30 for this, and this is what I get. Even those we love the most can be poison to our souls. Break my heart and you will find yourself inside. It took me, I'm not even exaggerating, I timed myself. This book took me 20 minutes to read. 20 minutes to read. There are some moments, okay, hang on, star rating. I liked this one better. This was 3 stars, this was 2. I probably should rate them both down a star lower because I'm obviously very worked up about this, but I did finish the books, so I don't know. I just don't like Instagram poetry. I feel like the lines that are said in here, the prettiest eyes sparkle from the inside out, are lines which would be okay if they were enclosed within a larger poem, which has, not that you need this for it to be a poem, but rhyme, internal rhyme, interesting enchantment, not just a new word in each line. Similes, metaphors, internal rhyme, assonance, sibilance, alliteration, just more than what I consider to be a sentence. And again, you can come for me, you can hate me for saying that. There are definitely some short poems that are beautiful, but let me just choose another one. Where's just another short one to show you my point. I will say he has some nice ones, but an open window in Paris is all the world I need. That was not worth the money I paid. So anyway, before I get too angry and before this video surpasses the 30-minute mark, thank you for making it to the end. Thank you for being a part of this weird energy. I do not apologise for my opinions. If there's something you can educate me on, please feel free to do so in a nice way. Anyway, 22 books. My goal is to read 100. Stick around. Let's see if I make it. Enjoy all the places you go. Hey, I remembered it. Enjoy all the places you go in your own reading adventures. And I'll see you in the next video, team. Bye-bye.